What's up, peeps? Spencer Smoot here, unsolicited QA. I am looking at Bombshell Clientele inside Star Citizen today, summer 2021. So, soon there is going to be the CitizenCon is coming up, a couple weeks, I think. And then, yeah, that's like the year, right? So, CitizenCon looks pretty cool. I'm kind of I'm somewhat interested in some of the stuff. I think like the quantum system and like that the quanta system. That's like a big thing I'm excited for. I think the game kind of starts when like that's in, you know that like yeah. But I'll talk about that when it comes up. Yeah. So today we're going to look at bombs, and then I think there's some sprint report stuff or whatever later on. One thing, like it's interesting because I like bombs in general are just like high. Um, like if we think of warfare right now, like bombs in general are not really used anymore. We have the MOBA and or MOBA Mother of All Bombs yeah, and then yeah we have like bombers and things, but usually they drop and then like they go. From my understanding, I could be completely wrong, and let me know if I am. It doesn't like in the future doesn't necessarily make sense that like there would be like overhead bomb drops, but it's whatever. It's I mean it's yeah we'll see how it is. Um, just kind of like thinking of warfare, right? And like you know, does it make sense? And look at like what value does this bring versus having something that is strafe running, right? Um, yeah, but all right, let's get into it and let's see what's up.
With bombers, we're trying to create that element of excitement. There's an offense and there's a defense strategy. Bombs give a really kind of mental way to kind of start that battle. So if you go to a particular location on the map, let's say, and you bring some friends, they basically set up a tank around an area. We want players to be able to attack that, so they've got a reason to defend it. There's also the NPC side, which is we've got bases now with the ability to have ground turrets on them, and these can include guns, but also missiles as well. And they can be quite effective at kind of keeping players out, but we want something to counter that. And a way to counter that as a rather fundamental force is a very large bomb, which can kind of push through some of those defenses and give players the other advantage, which is you can come in, you can bring your big ship in, you can bomb some of the early defenses, and then you can use some of your smaller ships that you have with you, to kind of get in there and to take that ground location away from them.
Yeah, looks like it kind of destroyed the ground location. Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, I don't necessarily agree, like, with this method, I guess, of it. Um, because it's like, what about the anti-air, right? Like, if you can't fly in kind of smaller ships because of anti-air, then like a bigger ship that's slower, maybe, I don't know. It, or like maybe you could be like really further up, right? It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it just kind of seems weird to me, truthfully. Um, yeah, but yeah,
We wanted bombs to come in with a really big impact. We wanted a big ship that could carry a big bomb. The A2 carrying the size 10, it basically, allowed us to do that.
size 10.
We didn't want a guided bomb or anything like that. We wanted to give you like a high-tech solution to the targeting. So, although you've got this massive, powerful bomb, we wanted there to be some skill in trying to hit the target with this.
See, that's the double-edged sword of Star Citizen. I'm kind of super red right now. Is that okay? Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Yeah, it's like the double-edged sword of Star Citizen, right? Like, they want to make it a skill-based game, but like, it doesn't necessarily make sense to have a non-guided bomb, right? Most bombs now are guided, that I know of, right? Like, and especially like the ones, like if we were to drop them out of a plane, like those are guided definitely, right? It's with lasers or all that jazz, like drones. Well, it's usually drones that we bomb with, and those are definitely guided, right? So like, it just feels like there's a step back in technology to create a skill, like create a mechanic and a skill that like doesn't really fit, right? Like, we're hyper technological. We can go into space and like freaking from a really small ship and come in and out of space like it's no big deal, but we can't like guide bombs, right? It's like logically it doesn't make that much sense. And like I've been kind of like still thinking like, why, how does it really, I mean, it does seem like it changes the battlefield and like, okay, it hits and it's freaking huge bomb, but like it's just, I don't know, it's just I just don't really see like why, right? And but it's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but it's just like I don't see why. So let's continue.
So we put bombs in an operator mode, which is very, very similar to missiles, apart from when you have bombs selected on your ship, you will get your bomb UI. We've got the visual space in front of you, which allows you to see where your bomb will drop if you drop at any point. But we've also given you an option to create a reference point, and that will allow the UI on the hood itself to tell you where to move to. And then when you're flying towards this, it will tell you whether you need to speed up, move left and right. And then as you move towards it, you'll see a circle. And this gives you the reference point of where the bomb's going to drop. And then if you get it right, and you get the timing right, depending on physics, and if you've got any wind or anything that could affect it in the time as well, it will drop within that point that you've referenced.
So you kind of have to be facing down anyway. Like, it seems like that, right? Yeah, like it's just weird. It's just weird because, like, why not? Like, let's give them just, like, it's non-guided, right? But, like, can we put a video camera on the bottom of the ship? Right? And, like, that'll be, like, kind of multi-crew play of, like, the pilot is piloting and then, like, the bombing is happening with the bomber. Kind of like what they were doing in World War II and stuff. Like, because like, if we look back, right, like, it's, like, they literally, like, don't, like, yeah, it's like that red thing, like, a red thing comes up. Oh, it's just weird. I'm just not a big fan of this. I might be just be biased in that, but, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the whole thing, but...
Point that you've referenced. But in some future patches, we're looking at, supporting a full bombing station on the A2, for example. Okay. And this can include things like, a remote camera looking down at the bomb, okay, which will hopefully, in terms of our goals with this, is to move the advantage from the pilot being the person that controls the bomb to the bomber station. Because we want people to have these roles on these ships. Like...
Sienna! Can you chill out? Okay. Just chill.
Really make a difference. So even if you're not within the blast radius of the bomb, you've still got a chance of damaging and hurting players within the vicinity of the physical blast itself as well. So that's you've got to be quite careful because it's quite a big radius. So make sure you release it at the right time. But apart from that, have fun blowing stuff up.
Yeah, it's just hard. There's two things that I'm battling with. Like, like I said, if we take back, or we're taking a step back with technology, so we don't like to create a game mechanic with it. A non-guided bomb, right? That's a step back, right? The fins are there because they want to guide that thing in, but that, and I don't really see a use case scenario for it. Yeah, I just don't see a use case. It's just weird to think about, when do we need a big bomb to destroy something, without destroying the entire thing, right? So maybe bombing out, you can hire if somebody has a mining plot or whatever, you want to take it over, you can maybe just bomb them out. But yeah.
First iteration of bombing aims to bring functionality to the upcoming Hercules A2. And like all features, we'll continue to evolve and iterate with testing and feedback from you before rolling out to other spacecraft that can make use of this potentially devastating new feature. And speaking of the Hercules A2, it's set to arrive in the upcoming Alpha 3.15, so let's go ahead and take the last few minutes of this quarter's last episode to take one more look at what all is making its way to the persistent universe in the patch report.
Ooh.
Let's begin right at the very top of the list. Alpha 3.15 is more than just another quarterly patch. When this one drops, it'll be the biggest step yet in realizing that vision of Death of a Spaceman set forth at the very beginning of the crowdfunding campaign. And that begins with everything under the umbrella of Healing Tier 0.
It
starts with the addition of downstates. No longer will every ding and scrape a player gets send them directly to death. These downstates allow for and encourage group participation so that players can better keep each other in the fight, picking each other up and pushing forward like it's Black Friday and the store just got 3090s back in stock. And when they are...
Yeah, it changes, it so fundamentally changes the game that... Yeah, I think I want to do a video on it. Part of my background is medicine. I used to be a combat medic, and kind of I think it would be cool to kind of do what I think would be cool, what mechanics would be cool, and also as a game designer, I'll think about what the actual design and mechanics that they are telling us what they kind of bring, right? So, and also I'll look at it in a PvP view of that type of thing. So it's awesome. Good. It's a really big change though. It's really big. Yeah, not as big as inventory, but it's very, very close though.
Are picked up, players may discover new injury states like broken arms and legs that impair their ability to fly or otherwise traverse the universe, and that's where the healing namesake of the feature comes in, with the ability to administer treatment to players and NPCs alike. It'll be a big change to life in the verse, certainly not one that makes life any easier for our spacefaring adventurers. But this challenge and others coming down the road should lead to a more complex and rewarding gameplay experience for all when all is said and done. And speaking of challenging experiences, the new inventory revamp is here! The new inventory revamp is here! With the death of global inventory and the implementation of local to vehicle to external to personal inventory, the planning, considerations, and ultimately choices we make as players have never been more important or impactful to our gameplay experience.
True. This is probably the biggest change, since I've been in. I think I joined in 2018 maybe. Off and on I've been playing, but it's probably the biggest change that I've experienced. It's probably in the top 3 or 4 of which the entire game is going to take. Inventory is a huge thing in MMOs, so I hope they I hope they got it right, and I hope it's stable and it doesn't really like crash and like destroy. But it's gonna. This like 3.15 is gonna be a mess because there's so much new stuff. But yeah, I mean it's like this starts creating the framework of like where the developers of Star Citizen want the player's mental status to be, right? Meaning, or mental status to be. Like how the players think, right? Part of the game development is leading the player to certain things, right? Like, they have to make decisions within the rules of which you give them, right? And a rule that Star Citizen has to have, because, like, inventory is so important, because it allows people not to be gods, right? Like with a game that doesn't have actual classes and money can buy any class that you have, like, or you can do, like inventory is that important, right? Like inventory is something that, like, if they did not have an inventory system like this, then a lot of things like would not work. And that's why it's so big, right? It's so big because like you can't be an assault guy and also a medic, right? Like they want to make sure those are split. Assault person wears ammo, has basic medical stuff, but like a combat medic, right? Like has their ammo and like basic combat stuff, but like they have advanced medical stuff, right? So that's extremely important, and I'll go into that a little bit. I think I might just do a video on 3.15 again, or I will see. But it's just important. So let's continue.
What's my stash like on Hurston? Do I have enough ammo on Microtech to do what I want to do? What planet did I leave my multitude on? Did I leave my keys in here? As with healing, tactical decisions are now coming to the forefront of life in the persistent universe. And between the two, who and what you bring with you becomes the essential question before any new mission or adventure. But two other new features arrive with Alpha 3.15 to help with your inventory needs. The first being the Knickknacks Asset Manager, essential to helping you track and maintain where everything you have in the verse is stashed or located. And Loot Generation, to help when you find yourself alone in the barren wastelands of Hurston or the magnificent desolation of Yila. Loot Generation works with the external inventory system to give players more reward for their increased risk in the field. And it's just one more way Alpha 3.15 looks to reshape daily life in the persistent universe from this point forward. And when we talk about increased risk in the field, we have to include the new Infiltrate and Defend missions, with new tactically based objectives like having to avoid security for completion, or attacking players can't kill any defenders, or classic defend objectives like repel all waves or prevent the destruction of an item or person. These new mission types have a variety of modifiers to keep things fresh, and will continue to evolve beyond their initial implementation in the upcoming Alpha 3.15. Of course, if increased risk in the field isn't your thing, you can take to the skies above in the new Hercules A2 from Crusader Industries. First vehicle of its kind to use the new bombing mechanics showcased earlier to safely deliver death and destruction from far above the chaos below. Plus, the A2 just looks cool when it makes the big boom boom. In 3.15, it joins its C2 and M2 brethren to complete the Hercules line of stunning behemoth monsters from Crusader Industries. Of course, how safe the Hercules might be up in the skies might depend on two additional ships coming later in the Alpha 3.15 branch cycle, including the Ares Starfighter and Redeemer. Whether they attack or defend, they will certainly be looking to bring the pain when they arrive, and we'll be talking more about these two in depth when we get closer to their intended release during Alpha 3.15's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo event. Outside the Persistent Universe, or perhaps deep inside in the fictional game within a game, Arena Commander's Broken Moon map is getting a makeover with new tech and features that have come online since the original was first introduced. Including a more diverse and expansive map space, and an improved scoreboard UI created in building blocks for faster performance and improved maintenance ability going forward. Flash, no, not anymore. Bam, 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 bam. Of course, back in the persistent universe, let's look at all the new places you'll go in Alpha 315, including the new Crusader showroom on Orison. Crown jewel showcase of the entire Crusader ship line, it's your one-stop shop for the best-looking spacecraft in the galaxy, where you can pick up the Mercury and Hercules right away, Ares when it comes online later in Alpha 315, and then one day, my favorite ship in the galaxy, the Genesis Starliner. Someday. Then again, who flies around in stock spaceships? That's where Cousin Crows comes in, also new to Orison, where players will get the chance to trick out their spacecraft with new components and liveries. Well, we'll talk about what else when we get closer to getting there. But Cousin Crows, welcome to the verse.
I cannot go to Orison. Like, it kills my computer. Like, all the cities kill my computer. And I've recently turned down the graphics, I recently turned down the resolution. And it's just it's getting worse. It seems like a computer's dying, which sucks. And like, I have to get a new one, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, it's so bad.
And in places you may want to avoid going, the variety of hospitals and space clinics arrive in Alpha 315 to put players back together when the worst of the worst occurs. These include new locations on Crusader, Microtech, Grimhex, and a variety of smaller installations and space stations throughout the Stanton system. So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that it's better to be the bomber than the bomb.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. 315. A lot of stuff's coming out. It's a lot of stuff. It's gonna kind of suck at first, I suspect, because it's so much stuff that the bugs are everywhere. And nothing is safe, right? So, yeah, and then, yeah, the other stuff, like the inventory, that's big. The bombing, it's, like, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know what value it brings, but, you know, somebody might like it, somebody, you know, cool. What else? No, I think that's it. So, I'm going to sign off, and thanks for watching today. And I will see you next time. And yeah, look for a video maybe about the medical and inventory. I might have that up. So have a good day.